So first, I'll always identify as I'm Puerto Rican and Haitian. Second, I was born in Bushwick. I'm from Brooklyn. Growing up with my Puerto Rican mother, she was a SAPIS worker for the DOE. And considering that she always had like a really hard time in school because she was diagnosed with things like ADHD and dyslexia, the job that she had at the time was a blessing. And so she stayed with it. She was 43 years old when she was having me. She already had my older brother. And she stayed in that job like until she retired. And a big part of that had to do with the fact that she really wasn't that tech savvy, honestly. But the biggest part of it was the fact that she could never learn how to be tech savvy. It was just hard for her to learn. And so over the years, both at home and at her job, more and more, obviously a lot of systems started moving permanently online. Like, even now, like now we have things like Google Classroom. Like it seems like a lot of these kids really, you come into class to do the work on your computer. You might as well stay home. A big part of why she actually retired when she did had to do with the fact that she could not keep up with the way that things were going. She was kind of expected to be able to move online completely and be able to teach her classes and visit kids and assign homework and, all of these things that honestly might take her years to learn. I mean, my mom to this day still asks me for help with like signing into apps on her phone. It's not to make fun of her. It's just the fact that it's hard to expect people to be able to move online all of a sudden. And so for the last 18 years, that's what she did. She stayed as a SAPIS worker until she retired. And also realistically speaking though, her generation was definitely one of the last ones able to work and commit to a single job and still be able to live off of that income successfully and, raise a family. A recent study in the US showed that it takes a minimum of working 80 hours a week in order to be above the poverty line. 80 hours a week is a second 9 to 5. You need to work 2 9 to 5s every day in order to be out of poverty. So realistically, that's supposed to be 16 hours of your 24 hours. So that last 8 hours is your life, basically. Your sleep, your good habits, your eating, your family time, your education, your fun is supposed to fit into those 8 hours. And so recently I shared a post, and in that post I was talking about my challenges recently overcoming my injury. Not that I'm completely over it, but in one of the pictures that I shared, it was about 175 pounds at the time. At one of the lowest points that I was facing, I couldn't even walk around for 30 minutes a day without being completely exhausted and just in pain. Honestly, I was suffering pretty badly. Most days I really couldn't get out of bed. And all I could think about was, how am I ever supposed to keep up? How am I ever going to be able to work that much? I literally couldn't even, to go to physical therapy some days, would take all of my energy. I'd go back home and not do a single thing all day. And so I genuinely didn't feel like I was ever going to be able to catch up to everybody else. I felt like I was being left behind every day. Seeing everybody get jobs, seeing everybody, work, post their whatever the hell, flexing. And it was honestly just making me feel like shit. It felt like I was already so far behind. And so at the time when I found Kangen, it was honestly like finding a light at the end of a hallway. It felt like I was stuck for such a long time, and all of a sudden it was like I had my eyes opened up to so many truths at one time. And some of the biggest ones for me was honestly deciding to become an online business owner. Stepping into entrepreneurship was one of the best things that I've ever decided to do for my life, because honestly, no matter how you look at it, especially in this day and age, the 9 to 5 is increasingly becoming more and more outdated. And what I mean is what I said before. If it takes that much time for you to work to be able to earn the income that you need to live, less people are going to be able to do that. Nobody actually wants to do that. So a lot of what's happening is the country's kind of bringing back commission-based service. It's more about how well can you do your job versus can you do your job. Because nowadays, the reason why the job market is so strained is because of the advent of things like AI technologies. You don't really need to know how to do an entry-level job, because you can program a bunch of AI agents to go ahead and do it for you. Why would a company waste money paying an employee, which is somebody like me or you, wasting money to pay us to do something that can simply be a task assigned to a robot for free? Or for a smaller paid subscription, whatever it is, significantly cheaper than what they are willing to pay us. And so it started to raise this question in my head, like, why would I waste time at a job that no matter how much time I spent working, no matter how hard I actually work, I can never outwork whatever my salary was, whatever my income is. And even if you decide to continue pursuing higher education, no matter how many positions you get up to, unless you are the CEO, you will never be able to out earn the CEO. No matter how hard you work in any job that you work in, unless you own it, you will never earn more money than him. And so owning your own business, honestly, your income is directly tied to how much time and effort you actually put into it. There's a very positive relationship between the more effort, the greater your income is. No matter how hard you work during your shift, your rate is locked. It's locked to your position. There's a salary, there's an hourly rate, there's whatever wage that you're working for. Like, there's honestly no incentive to even try your best. And that's why service in a lot of these places is the way that it is. The physical world that we're dealing with is becoming secondary to all of the online industries that are opening up. Starting a business with King and for me and Become the Change was especially a no-brainer because not only are you getting access to, in my opinion, the number one medical grade water ionizer on earth, you're getting exclusive access to courses that includes a coach that works with you consistently. You can reach out to your coach 24/7. You get at least one meeting per week. You have access and they give you 6 weeks of training. All of these things matter. The biggest thing throughout this entire journey is the fact that I've been feeling supported on every step of it. I haven't been completely alone, which is honestly one of the most difficult parts of starting a business in the first place, the fear of having to do everything yourself. Honestly, if you're not ready for that kind of thing, yes, the 9-to-5 job is completely for you. But if you're tired of being stuck in a system that isn't rewarding you for the work that you're actually doing, the best thing that you can do is start your own system. There's a saying that goes, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.